So this is the Millermatic 211 Autoset with MVP. I bought this at a welding supply store for around $1,200. And when I bought it, they gave me the cart for free. Because usually when you go to a welding supply store and you make a big purchase, they'll give you something for free, whether it be a cart or a welding helmet. So they gave me the cart for free. I believe it was around $100. The tank I had to buy separately. This tank I paid around $100 for it. Because I bought it, I didn't rent it. And this usually lasts me around a month or two of welding. And when I refill it, it only cost me like 20 bucks. It's something really little, so it actually does surprisingly well on gas for the amount you use it. So this welder, it's a very high-end welder for home use. You would only want to buy it if you're doing a lot of welding, a lot of projects. Because I do a lot of side work. I'm always welding with it, so I decided to spend a little extra money and get a high quality one. And it's a low-end commercial welder. I wouldn't really buy it for commercial use, but it can be used for it. It's just the lower end of it. But it's very high-end for home use. If you're not going to be welding very often, I wouldn't buy this welder just because it costs so much money. I would go for like a Hobart, an off-brand welder of some sort. Save a little bit of money. So when you buy this welder, it comes with two different plugs on it. The first one it comes with is the 125 volt plug here. And it also comes with a 250 volt plug. This is the one I use all the time. I never use the smaller one. Just because if you have the outlet to use it, use bigger. You're going to have a lot more power. It'll run well with this, but you're not going to be able to get the high-end ranges of heat. So if you're able to use the bigger one, use the bigger outlet. It'll work a lot better. So on the front of this welder, you have the wire speed, which is on the top. It goes from 10 all the way up to 100. Very easy to set, very specific. Below it you have the voltage. It goes from 1 volt all the way up to 10 volts, which is plenty of power. I would say you could safely weld up to 3/8 inch with this. If you were preheating the metal, I would be safe going up to a 1/2 inch. This definitely gets a lot of penetration for its size. You're going to have no problems welding 3/8. Like I said, if you heat it up, you could go 1/2 inch safely. Now this welder also has MVP. It's an Autoset function. What you do, you take the top one, go all the way down, you choose your wire thickness that you're running. I always run 0.35. So you click what wire you're using, and then on this side, you set the volts to how thick of metal you're welding. So if you're welding 1/8 inch thick, you go right here to 1/8 inch, and the machine will set it for you. It'll set all the settings up. You won't have to do anything. Personally, I don't ever use this setting just because I know how this machine works. I know where to set it. I don't really trust it to choose for me. This is basically a feature if you're new to welding, you don't really know what you're doing. It'll get you a lot closer than just guessing, basically. But if you know your welder, you're never going to use it. Like I said, I never use this feature. Below all the settings, you have this button. You could switch between the MIG gun or an aluminum gun. So you switch it. Basically, when you're running this aluminum gun, it's a spool on the gun itself. So it pulls out the wire, which means this machine won't feed out wire when it's on this section. When you click it up, it'll pull out the wire itself with the motor. I don't have an aluminum gun just because it's crazy expensive for these machines. So, and plus I don't really weld aluminum, so I always keep it on this section. But a lot of people, they'll be welding and they'll accidentally click it down like this, and all of a sudden their machine won't be feeding wire, and they'll be like, why isn't my machine working? is because you have it on the wrong setting. So just make sure it's always on there. On the side of the machine, you have the latch, opens it up. On the top of this, you have all the recommended settings. It gives you a general range of what you should use. I personally never use this just because it doesn't seem to be that accurate. It's kind of just basic. It's just a guideline basically. And in here you have your spool wire. This is not included with the welder. You have the drive roll. With this one machine, at least, it could run 2 different sizes wire. I always run 0.3, but if you flip around the drive roll, it can run 0.24. If you want to switch wires, you just switch which way you put it in. Lock that in. And also at the top of this, that's your space for the extra voltage plug. Just so you don't lose it, it's always there. Just a nice feature. Okay, so now we're going to do some welding. I have some 1/8 inch metal to weld up. I'm going to set the wire speed around 60. I'll do volts of 6. So what you do, come around to the back with the power button, turn that on, turn on the gas all the way, and just hook up your ground and you're good to go. So as you can see, it's capable of making some pretty good welds. Very easy to use. Okay, so now I'm going to be welding some 3/8 inch metal. The wire speed is set for 90 and the volts is set for 10. This is the top end of the machine. There's no problem welding this thick of metal. Okay, so that is the Millermatic 211. Highly recommend it for anybody that does a lot of welding. It's a great home use welder. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. I'll get back to you as soon as possible.